Welcome back to 2020's NFL predictions. So then there was two. The NFC eliminated two teams last week. That being the Minnesota Vikings and the Seattle Seahawks. The Seahawks game was a scraper. They almost blew it in the end, but true to Aaron Rodgers, him and his fame and the characteristics that he brings to the table, he was able to have the ball in his hand for the remainder of the game, probably for about the last 4 or 5 minutes of the game, and Seattle wasn't able to get the ball back. Otherwise, I think they would have won that game. Seattle surged heavy in the second half, and Russell Wilson, as usual, put the team on his back and almost pulled that one off. But in the end, Seattle got eliminated, which is unfortunate because I think Seattle versus San Francisco is the NFC final. Would have been a more entertaining game, and I think a better game and a closer game. In fact, perhaps even a toss-up game. This game is very much different because essentially I don't think the Green Bay Packers have a chance in this game. They just don't match up very well with the 49ers, and I'm just going to go through some of the bullet points here that I've prepared. They're both 14-3 teams, so my hat's off to both teams. They got there very different ways. San Francisco rode a red-hot defense. They go into the best pass rushing in the game, which will cause problems for the strengths of Aaron Rodgers. Stepping back in the pocket, he's going to get smoked. So let's go through some of these bullet points first, and then I'll ultimately give you a score and a prediction at the end of the video, which will not be too long. I suspect 3.5 minutes, so hang tough. Stay there with me. Some of the key matchups that you're going to see is you're going to see Seattle's castaway Richard Sherman protecting Davante Adams. As you know, Richard Sherman was a big part of the Legion of Boom for the Seahawks for several years, and I got to say, Richard Sherman is just his football intellect along with his personal intellect, I think, can contain Davante Adams, but I don't think he can completely shut him down. So I'm going to call that one slight edge to Sherman. So I think it's an interesting matchup because Adams is no slouch. So you got the Green Bay's offensive line against San Francisco's defensive line. I think this is the epitome of strength on strength. You're going to meet power with power. San Francisco definitely has arguably the best defensive line in football, and you can make the same argument for Green Bay. These guys are studs, and they're big and they're physical. So after San Francisco decimated Green Bay earlier this year, I think by about 30 points, maybe 28, I think they learned a lot from that. And ever since that game, Green Bay's defense has been playing a lot better. And they've made those adjustments, which is really extremely good news for Green Bay. So their offensive line is part and parcel of their entire game plan. People don't really realize this, but they're ranked number 5 or 6 overall in the entire league. So San Francisco tight end George Kittle versus who? I mean, he's the best player in the game today. Kittle is he's Gronkowski 2.0, which means to me he's a better version of Gronkowski. And he's the same kind of personality, just a ball of fun, enjoys himself, enjoys the game. We're going to have running back Tevin Coleman, Raheem Mostert, and Matt Breida, I think is the way you pronounce his name. And you're going to have them going up against Green Bay's run defense. Now listen, San Francisco ranked number 2 in the league in rushing offense this season, 144 yards per game. And it didn't matter if Mostert, Matt Breida, or Coleman was running the ball. It really didn't matter, so pick any three of them. The trio of backs operates behind a terrific offensive line and a head coach that emphasizes a run-first approach, setting up, I might add, the play action, which Jimmy Garoppolo has shown himself to be very stellar at. So, in the 49ers wild card win over Minnesota, San Francisco ran 47 times for 186 yards and threw the ball just 19 times. And that game wasn't even close. I mean, it was closer than their second game, but it was closer than the game against Green Bay. Minnesota put up a better fight. So anyway, on the flip side, Green Bay ranked only 23rd in the league in Russian. So in Russian defense, so this is a real big mismatch in favor of San Francisco. Let's talk about coaching. You got LaFleur versus Kyle Shanahan. LaFleur and 49ers head coach Shanahan became really close when they worked together, both in Washington and Atlanta. So they know each other well. They probably know each other's tendencies fairly well. But Shanahan, he's the son of a two-time Super Bowl winner, Mike Shanahan, and he was the offensive coordinator in Houston for their 2008-9 season. So LaFleur was an offensive assistant with the Texans those same years. So they've met each other quite a few times. I think when the teams met in November, Shanahan and company definitely got the better of LaFleur and his calling. You can be sure the Packers boss wants nothing more than to even the score. So LaFleur, I think, is going to be super motivated to win this game. I think they both have a lot of respect for each other, but when it comes down to it, LaFleur, he's going to be looking for revenge, but man, Shanahan's good. So, what else can I say? San Francisco has proved time and again that their ferocious, vicious defense can shut down pretty much any team. The game that I want, so here's my call. San Francisco will beat the Green Bay Packers. I'm going to give them at least 10 points. I know the cover right now, Vegas is calling for 7 points. Sure, they'll cover that. I think San Francisco wins this game pretty handily. I mean, I don't see any other possibility unless Aaron Rodgers reverts to being 25 years old again and is able to put up the kind of performances he was able to do, 10, 11, 12 years ago. I just can't see him duplicating that at the age of 36. I think he'll make key plays, but San Francisco is just too powerful. Their defense is going to be all over him, and Rodgers is not going to be able to play the game that he wants to be able to play, regardless of how they prepare for San Francisco. That's the call of the game. I'm going to make a special video about the upcoming UFC fight, Conor McGregor versus Cowboy Cerrone. I've been with UFC since the start. Back in 1993, I was in a bar in Vancouver watching UFC 1 live back in 1993 from Denver, Colorado. I got into fighting myself. I got into MMA. I was a competitive MMA fighter. I'm too old to do that now. And so you're going to get my breakdown and my insights on the fight game when I break down that fight and what's going to happen there. So please stay tuned. I'll have that video out very shortly. But for this Sunday, San Francisco is going to beat the Packers unless Rodgers is able to pull off miracle after miracle after miracle. And that's my call for today. Have a great day and live well.